Good morning, everybody. Theoretically, this take should be with better sound. So I thought this morning would be a better chance to revisit yesterday's topic, which the sound did not work on, but I'm pretty sure I figured out what it was. Something having to do with already being attached to another speaker. So anyways, my name's Rita Hickman. I'm a body-mind expert, and I help women like you who are in toxic and narcissistic relationships. I help you figure out how to get back on track, how to find your voice, how to get the fog cleared out of your head, how to get your energy back, how to create good relationships, how to find friends, how to find a new job or a new partner, how to walk away if that's what you need to do, how to change how you live your life so that your body heals and your mind heals and your heart heals. That's what I help women do. And I do it through coaching, I do it through programs, I do it through the live streams. That's what we're here to do, is help each other kind of move in a positive direction. So today we're going to talk a little bit about suffering. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, but clearly I needed to look at it even deeper. You know, I was raised Catholic, and in the Catholic religion, suffering is equal to sainthood. You know, we would glorify all of these saints that had died for a belief, who suffered for a belief. And in fact, I had a Jewish friend who pointed out to me one time, she said she felt very uncomfortable walking into especially Catholic churches, because the first thing that you see is someone, you know, who's on a cross with thorns and blood and, you know, spikes through the wrists. And, you know, it's a pretty, when you stop and you know, think about it, for someone who's Jewish or atheist or whatever, it's a pretty powerful symbol of suffering and of the value of suffering. So now as women, we were also taught that suffering is good. Many men were taught that suffering is good too, that whole stuffing of the emotions and that. But I mainly work with women, and how we were kind of programmed that we would be good women, we would be good people, we would, you know, make it to heaven, we would get brownie points if we suffered. Now the other day, I was talking to one of the women from my live streams, and we were talking about sadness and powering through sadness. Now, I spent decades, and I mean literally decades, thinking that I had to power through something. It started when I was a kid, and powering through for me meant that my face looked like a smile, but I definitely looked very tense. And when levels of stress were higher, I would pee myself, no matter what the situation. That's what powering through meant to me, that my emotions and how I felt didn't matter, and that there was nothing I could do about it, and that I was helpless to it. And in fact, by suffering, in some weird, twisted way, it made me a better person. It justified my being on this planet, my being alive and breathing. That somehow suffering meant that I deserved to be here, that I deserved for people to treat me well and for me to treat me well. It's only when, you know, I had allowed myself a certain amount of suffering that I felt good enough, like I'd given enough and sacrificed enough, that I could finally think differently and live my life differently. I'd hit my threshold. Now, once I did hit that level where I was so uncomfortable, I didn't want to, I had to do something different. That's when I started to learn and gather tools around me. Tools that would make me feel better. Friends. I actually developed friends and close relationships. I got a psychologist. I, you know, got on CBD oil. I started to meditate. I'm playing with gamma brainwave meditation, and I brought all of this into the work that I do. I've been doing it for about 12 years. I brought it into my body work and my coaching and my connection and my classes, because I started to realize that it wasn't necessary to suffer. And that's the lie that we were taught. We were taught that suffering will make us worthy enough, at least I was. Suffering somehow will make us worthy enough to love ourselves. And I was also taught that wasn't anything I could do about it. Because as a kid, when I was suffering, and I wasn't telling anybody because, the trauma and drama in my family, it wouldn't have mattered anyways, because they wouldn't have known how to help me. They didn't know how to manage their own inner feelings. They were still trapped in that idea of sacrifice and suffering and thinking that they were helpless and there was nothing they could do to feel better. They were still trapped in that cycle too, and they didn't have good tools. So they wouldn't have been able to help me have good tools either. And we've only really started to look at the body-mind only within, a certain period of time in this country. They've been looking at it in Asian medicine, which is why I love Asian medicine, for thousands and thousands of years. And they've been looking at it in indigenous medicines, why I love indigenous medicines. They've been looking at it for thousands of years too. Only now are we starting to get it into our culture and remember these beliefs and back them up by science. There are many, many things that you can do. And so if you find yourself suffering with sadness, with anger, with overwhelm, with high sensitivity, with frustration, with grief, with helplessness, with hopelessness, if you find yourself struggling with that longer than you're willing to struggle. Now, I'll always say we have to feel things in order to move forward. That's an important rule of thumb for healing. You have to allow yourself to feel it so that you can detox it. But you don't have to allow yourself to suffer. There's a difference. One is where I'm willingly sitting with this so that I can clear it. But I'm doing something about it. By the clearing, I'm making myself feel better. I have these tools that when I'm ready to shift, I can feel better. Music and dancing and touch and love and color and scent and essential oils and memories and water and fiber and walking and nature and, there's all these wonderful tools out there. And so I know that I don't have to suffer with something. I don't have to sit with it longer than I'm willing to. And so this is the message today and yesterday, which was you don't have to suffer and you don't have to power through suffering. You have permission to stop suffering. And here's the deal. Our thoughts, our feelings, especially when they're in tandem with the feeling, they send out vibrations and wavelengths, physical, measurable wavelengths from our brain and from our heart that interact and impact all the other wavelengths around us. And we start shaping and creating what will happen in the future for us by how we approach how we feel about and how we're dealing with the present. So when you allow yourself to suffer, the technology of it is meaning that you're going to stay in that place of suffering. If you allow yourself to feel it, release it, and then do something to make yourself feel better, to move forward in a healthy way, getting your real needs met, when you do that, then you create more of that. You create more connection. You create more health. You create more happy days, more enlightenment. So how you deal with the present, whether you're suffering and there's nothing you can do about it, or whether you are feeling and then when you're ready, doing things that make you feel better, that make you feel good, each one will bring more of that. So stay present. If you don't feel good now, do something that will make you feel good, even if it's in a small way. For me, it's my CBD oil and my meditation. I put on my gamma meditation and I let myself sit with it for half an hour. And the music and the brainwave beats bring me up. I used to use Paul Simon and Bellamy Brothers. I used to use happy songs like that. Other people go for a walk. Other people pet their dog. There's all sorts of wonderful things that you can do. So don't suffer. There's no need. Please don't. Because we need you in the best space possible. Okay? We need you to be a light in the world. Not because you're trying hard to be a light in the world, but because you're giving yourself the things that you need, and being a light is the natural side effect, is the natural result of that. Okay? So, Your homework assignment today is the same as it was yesterday, which is do something. When you start to notice yourself feeling something more than you want to feel it, more than the release and the actual feeling of it, do something good for yourself. Do something that makes you feel good, okay? Because that's how we start to break the pattern, not only for ourselves, but all of the people around us and the people that we love. They learn from us. We help shape them too. So although it's not fair and you've been traumatized and through the ringer and treated poorly, no one is going to save you. Nobody can. Only you. Okay? So have a great day. Have a great Memorial Day weekend. I will most likely see you Monday morning because I will be home, although I have a great weekend in Chicago planned. And if you haven't joined the Healthy Mindsets to Cope with Narcissists, please do. And if you have joined, please invite other people. It's that community that helps move us all forward. Okay? I hope you have a great day. Bye.